Thank you, my friends. The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City. And that is because of you. So before I say anything else, I must say this. Thank you. Thank you to the next generation of New Yorkers who refused to accept that the promise of a better future was a relic of the past. You showed that when politics speaks to you without condescension, we can usher in a new era of leadership. We will fight for you because we are you. Or as we say on Steinway, ana minkum wa ilaykum. Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point, know this. This city is your city, and this democracy is yours too. This campaign is about people like Wesley, an 1199 organizer I met outside of Elmhurst Hospital on Thursday night. A New Yorker who lives elsewhere, who commutes 2 hours each way from Pennsylvania because rent is too expensive in this city. It's about people like the woman I met on the BX-33 years ago, who said to me, I used to love New York, but now it's just where I live. And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver I went on a 15-day hunger strike with outside of City Hall, who still has to drive his cab 7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now. This victory is for all of them, and it's for all of you. The more than 100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force. Because of you, we will make this city one that working people can love and live in again. With every door knocked, every petition signature earned, and every hard-earned conversation, you eroded the cynicism that has come to define our politics. Now, I know that I have asked for much from you over this last year. Time and again, you have answered my calls. But I have one final request. New York City, breathe this moment in. We have held our breath for longer than we know. We have held it in anticipation of defeat. Held it because the air has been knocked out of our lungs too many times to count. Held it because we cannot afford to exhale. Thanks to all of those who sacrificed so much, we are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn. To my campaign team, who believed when no one else did, and who took an electoral project and turned it into so much more, I will never be able to express the depth of my gratitude. You can sleep now. To my parents, Mama and Baba, you have made me into the man I am today. I am so proud to be your son. And to my incredible wife, Rama, Hayati, there is no one I would rather have by my side in this moment and in every moment. To every New Yorker, whether you voted for me, for one of my opponents, or felt too disappointed by politics to vote at all, thank you for the opportunity to prove myself worthy of your trust. I will wake each morning with a singular purpose: to make this city better for you than it was the day before. There are many who thought this day would never come, who feared that we would be condemned only to a future of less, with every election consigning us simply to more of the same. And there are others who see politics today as too cruel for the flame of hope to still burn. New York, we have answered those fears. Tonight we have spoken in a clear voice. Hope is alive. Hope is a decision that tens of thousands of New Yorkers made day after day, volunteer shift after volunteer shift, despite attack ad after attack ad. More than 1 million of us stood in our churches, in gymnasiums, in community centers, as we filled in the ledger of democracy. And while we cast our ballots alone, we chose hope together. Hope over tyranny. Hope over big money and small ideas. Hope over despair. We won because New Yorkers allowed themselves to hope that the impossible could be made possible. And we won because we insisted that no longer would politics be something that is done to us. Now it is something that we do. Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new. So let us speak now with clarity and conviction that cannot be misunderstood about what this new age will deliver and for whom. This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt. Central to that vision will be the most ambitious agenda to tackle the cost of living crisis that this city has seen since the days of Figueroa LaGuardia. An agenda that will freeze the rents for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. Make buses fast and free. And deliver universal child care across our city. Years from now, may our only regret be that this day took so long to come. This new age will be one of relentless improvement. We will hire thousands more teachers. We will cut waste from a bloated bureaucracy. We will work tirelessly to make lights shine again in the hallways of NYCHA developments where they have long flickered. Safety and justice will go hand in hand as we work with police officers to reduce crime and create a department of community safety that tackles the mental health crisis and homelessness crises head on. Excellence will become the expectation across government, not the exception. In this new age we make for ourselves, we will refuse to allow those who traffic in division and hate to pit us against one another. In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light. Here, we believe in standing up for those we love. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, a single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with their back against the wall, your struggle is ours too. And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election. This new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. For years, those in City Hall have only helped those who can help them. But on January 1st, we will usher in a city government that helps everyone. I know that many have heard our message only through the prism of misinformation. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent to redefine reality and to convince our neighbors that this new age is something that should frighten them. As has so often occurred, the billionaire class has sought to convince those making $30 an hour that their enemies are those earning $20 an hour. They want the people to fight amongst ourselves so that we remain distracted from the work of remaking a long broken system. We refuse to let them dictate the rules of the game anymore. They can play by the same rules as the rest of us. Together, we will usher in a generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves. After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us. When we enter City Hall in 58 days, expectations will be high. We will meet them. A great New Yorker once said that while you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. If that must be true, let the prose we write still rhyme, and let us build a shining city for all. And we must chart a new path, as bold as the one we have already traveled. After all, the conventional wisdom would tell you that I am far from the perfect candidate. I am young, despite my best efforts to grow older. I am Muslim. I am a Democratic Socialist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this. And yet, if tonight teaches us anything, it is that convention has held us back. We have bowed at the altar of caution, and we have paid a mighty price. Too many working people cannot recognize themselves in our party. And too many among us have turned to the right for answers to why they've been left behind. We will leave mediocrity in our past. No longer will we have to open a history book for proof that Democrats can dare to be great. Our greatness will be anything but abstract. It will be felt by every rent-stabilized tenant who wakes up on the first of every month, knowing the amount they're going to pay hasn't soared since the month before. It will be felt by each grandparent who can afford to stay in the home they have worked for, and whose grandchildren live nearby because the cost of childcare didn't send them to Long Island. It will be felt by the single mother who is safe on her commute and whose bus runs fast enough that she doesn't have to rush school drop-off to make it to work on time. And it will be felt when New Yorkers open their newspapers in the morning and read headlines of success, not scandal. Most of all, it will be felt by each New Yorker when the city they love finally loves them back. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... Let the words we've spoken together, the dreams we've dreamt together, become the agenda we deliver together. New York, this power, it's yours. This city belongs to you. Thank you.
Bring their audio down, mine up. Hey, y'all, that was the acceptance speech of Zohran Mamdani. There's a lot to unpack. Nolan, I want to start with you. This is when I knew that this is when I think he won this race. It was in the debate. The question was asked, what's the first trip you're going to take as mayor of New York City? Every candidate went, Israel, Israel, Israel.
What did he say?
Israel. He went, I'm going to go to New York City.
That's what he said. Right.
That was a New York City speech. Mm-hmm. And that is why I believe he won. Mm-hmm. He did not get caught up in making it. The mayor of New York City ain't got nothing to do with foreign policy. Mm-mm. And his whole deal... No. Follow me here. He ain't the State Department. So they wanted to make the whole race about Israel and Jewish voters.
That's right.
He said, no, I'm going to make the race about New York City voters. Right. And that speech, that's what that was.
That's right. Absolutely. He is a guy for New York. He is New York's guy. As I'm listening to this, and I know for a fact that there's going to be a shift. When I think about the three economies in the United States, when I think about California, Texas, and New York, the World Bank, they just had their major meeting. ASEAN just had a major meeting. Everything is about economics and how everything is realigning globally. So this speech tonight, it was amazing. It spoke to New Yorkers, but it also spoke to Israel. It also spoke to the Middle East. It spoke to economies around the world, right? So one of the things that folks like me have been tracking is how this will play globally. I think that is very important for people to vote locally. I think it's very important for people to vote for the things that they care about. Now, how this is going to play globally, that's a very different discussion from how this is going to play domestically.
But he doesn't care, Tiffany, about how it plays globally. And again, This was why the campaign, I go back to his commercials, how he talked to the guy in the food truck about the cost, how he sat there at a table and talked about substance abuse and on a basketball court discussing Earl the Goat Manigault. What he did was he said, I'm running for mayor of New York City. I have to get the votes in 5 boroughs, not the votes in the Middle East, not in Europe, not in Asia, not in Russia, anywhere else. He said in the city. And quote, everybody else has been patronizing and all this sort of stuff like this. He's like, okay, y'all talking about that. I'm talking about them bus prices, rent prices, food prices. That's how he won. And for every Democrat who's been a punk ass criticizing him, they should be studying how he won.
Studying how he won, I want to add to the list that you just gave. I watched the debates. He also was able to combat, they talked about how young he was. They talked about how he was inexperienced and never had an opportunity to lead a state or a city like this and that he wouldn't be qualified and prepared. They tried to ask him 100 questions about Trump. And to your point, he stayed focused on the issues. He built the coalition. And you have to forgive me, Roland, because I'm a little emotional right now. We talked about like inspiration and motivation. I'm feeling hell of inspired right now off of that because he just went around the world and back again. But most importantly, he talked about the coalition of people in New York who ran his campaign and all of the issues that they are going to, all of the issues that they have been facing, and how this moment is going to respond to the needs that people have been having. The needs, like not just the economic needs, but like people are stressed out, not only in New York, across the country, but people are stressed out in New York. He named taxi drivers, Ethiopian aunties, young people, Muslims, Jews. He talked about black women. He talked about labor. He named SCIU. He talked about the Working Families Party. He talked about his family, their family, they family over there, child care, etc. He was able to bring it all together, and I told this to Marcus when he was giving a speech, that needs to be studied. To your point, building that coalition of those young people who want to move everything moving forward.
Marcus, he basically told these white Democrats, kiss my ass about your criticism of identity politics.
That's right.
That's right. I mean, but he's been saying that his whole race, right? He's produced campaign commercials in multiple languages when people say panned or, you know, targeting the Muslim community or targeting immigrant communities would be a liability for him. He's been doing all of these things where he says, I'm going to buck the system. He says, you're going to try to, you know, rake me down for being a Democratic Socialist. What I'm going to do is very calmly explain to you what Democratic Socialism means. And what New York City voters did tonight was buy it. They said that we understand what you want to do for us. We understand the problems we face. Right. And we know you see us, right? A part of, and Zohran Mamdani explained this earlier, Democratic Socialism is part policy, but it's also part posture, right? How do you show your neighbor, right, that you love them? Do you show your neighbor that you care about them? And what Zohran Mamdani did tonight, as well as over the last year of this election, is show New Yorkers that he cares about their individual situations. He's willing to hone in on those individual stories and turn those stories into policy.
Greg Carr, normally the advisors say, now that you've won, go out, bringing people together. He said, I'm going to give the speech that needs to be given. Damn what y'all think. Right. This was a non-consultant-driven campaign.
It was, and it's from a young man whose father, Mahmoud Mamdani, first-class intellect, spent most of his working career between Columbia University and Uganda, where Zohran was born. His middle name is Kwame. He identifies as an African, and as an Indian, and as a Muslim, and all the things we heard. This is a brilliant young man. People accuse me of being very critical of Obama, and I disagree. I'm not very critical of him. I'm ultimately critical of him. This is the anti-Obama. No, really. That's why Obama called him. Obama realized the torch has not been passed. He took the torch from you. You wasted your torch, sir. There are no red states. There are no blue states. There are just the United States. No. Let's be clear. I want to be very clear about this because I don't want to be mistaken about that. Isn't it ironic that this boy from Uganda and Obama's people from Kenya right next door, maybe the whole thing is going to be tilting on the edge of East Africa ultimately. Countries come and go. The United States of America, and people get tired of hearing me saying that, but I don't care because I've studied this enough to be able to say it with full confidence. This country is not going to be here in the same form much longer. Right. These white nationalists understand that, and I embrace them for it. I love them for it because my people were trafficked, and it's a crime scene. The only shot they have now is what they're doing. They are making a death bleat to white nationalism. Tonight we heard from New York City and California that just passed Proposition 50. These are the two areas of this country that are the future of the people who live in this country. California is as Pacific Rim as it is and Mexican as it is anything else. And New York City, as John Henry Clark used to say, isn't a city. It's a multinational polity in its own right. The politics of Mississippi, the politics of the billionaires who control the lives in Iowa and in Texas, those politics are dying. This is their death knell. Zohran Mamdani represents the future, not only of the United States, but in many ways, he's going to be a leader for the world if he lives. He's in his mid-30s. They're going to try to kill him. I'm just going to say that right now. Because when they get desperate enough, that's what they do. And I'm saying 20 years from now, being the president of the United States shouldn't even be his ambition. Ain't going to be United States be president of.
Mustafa, Frank Luntz posted this, and I had to respond. Don't read too much into tonight's election results. Democrats are strongly favored in all the key races. The surprise would be if any of those races are nail-biters. California is expected to ratify Prop 50. That's the big race. Republicans never get their act together. Prop 50 is the only race that will have big consequences in the year ahead. And the fact that the outcome of 2026 may be decided by the outcome tonight. Frank Luntz full of shit. But first of all, that's Frank Luntz trying to. We also just trying to play the game here by saying, well, you know what? It's no big deal because they were going to win. Here's the whole thing. And again, this is the last victory speech tonight. Other than Gavin giving his California. But this is the thing, again, if you are a Democrat running for school board, for DA, for judge, for county government, for state rep, state senate, U.S. House, you should tell your whole campaign team, we are flying to New York City, and we are sitting down with him and say, tell us how you did it.
Yeah.
There should be, whatever flattery is, whatever the hell, mimic, whatever the hell, it's the best form of flattery. They should be saying, that's how you run, because what he did was he connected with the hearts, minds, and the pocketbooks of voters.
What we watched wasn't a speech, it was testimony. It was testimony. It was testimony.
She's going to be like that new brush. She's going to walk up and just put some... walk up to the altar. Money. Put some money down. Yeah, they do. Go in her pocketbook and put some money down right there. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's true. It's testimony about dignity. Yes, because he made sure the folks that have traditionally been unseen are seen. It was testimony about justice. It was about making sure, putting folks on record that if you have done wrong, you will be held accountable.
That's right. That's right.
It was testimony about accountability, about this administration is going to be different. This administration is going to make sure that we are uplifting folks. It was testimony about humanity. It was about, I see you, I hear you, I value you. And that's the difference. And the only thing that he didn't do at the end of that speech, it is say power to the people. But he did it through his actions.
When Cody, the thing is, the thing here is, again, folk can say, okay, that's fine. But the thing that jumps out at me is not he checked off boxes. He didn't do that. One of the things he said is, in a moment where immigrants are being demonized, are being dragged out of detention hearings, dragged out of hallways, being disappeared, and you don't even know where they went. His whole deal is, he said, we ain't going nowhere. And the reality is, and this is the foreign policy implication, this is the economic implication, America cannot remain the world's largest economy if you do not confront the reality that you have to have immigration. White people ain't having enough kids. They are not. We are a $30 trillion economy. China is a $19 trillion economy. And even the Chinese had to get rid of their one-child rule because they said, oh, shit, that was stupid of us because we're not going to have people in the future. And so these white folks can run around with the great replacement theory, be mad as hell, and he's sitting there going, guess what? We ain't going nowhere. And if y'all can't stand Muslims, we ain't going nowhere either.
But as a child of immigrants myself, as a Haitian American, I felt proud of what I saw tonight. I felt like he touched every single immigrant group in New York City, and there are a lot of immigrant groups in New York City. And then being so proud of his faith, being proud of who he is, being proud of his ideologies as a Democratic Socialist. Every single thing they've tried to say about this 34-year-old man, he's flipped it on his head. He's claimed it. He's stood in it. So when they say you can't win based on identity politics, you can.
Yes.
When you stand in your light, that's what we saw him do tonight. That's what we need to continue to see the Democratic Party do if they want to win. But what I will say, and I'll close on this, is that when you see New York City win, when you see Virginia win, when you see New Jersey win, 5 times out of 5, that means a win for Democrats in 2026. And that can't be lost on us. But we must mobilize and make sure that we're replicating this campaign and we're doing the work, because we don't have that much time until next year.
Absolutely. It starts tomorrow.